right? I want to live a life that actually is listening to this positive voice more than the fearful voice. And we all have it. That's what the human experience is about, is having these two voices and how we work with them.
There's a moment in your journey where you have to trust yourself and you have to lean in to the voices in your head and ask yourself, which of these voices is real? Is it the voice that's telling me that I'm not smart enough, that I'm not good enough? Or is it the voice that's telling me that I have something to share, that I have an important message, that I have the ability to connect people in ways that they can't even see yet? And that is the moment that you start to take the risk. That is the moment that you start to lean in to yourself and believe that you have the ability to create whatever it is that you want in this world, because each of us do.
Purpose isn't something that you chase, but something you find when you stop pretending. In the Hollow Moment Purpose Lab, you will meet your mirror in the eyes of others. We used shared conversation and resonance to help you find your why. Our new teams are starting in September. Come and join us and become clear.
My name is Zenka Caro. I'm founder of light.Net, and my passion and purpose is to make the impossible possible. I am here today with Jennifer Spencer and Steve Fernandez of Pause and Expand. This is a revolutionary online platform that's bringing sound baths and guided meditation to the world in bite-sized pieces. This is a chance for people to really slow down, pause, bring calm into their lives, and therefore expand in incredible ways. They have decided to take this offering into the heart of corporate America, which in 30 minutes really offers these people with busy lives an incredible chance to tap into their own inner knowing, their creativity, and each other. They have created over 100,000 hours of sound therapy and have worked with over 200 companies, including Adobe, Uber, Intuit, CVS Health, and more. Jennifer is also a renowned psychic medium and spiritual intuitive guide. And she does this for a community of over 100,000 people on her Instagram channel. And she helps them navigate life's transitions and their spiritual growth. Steve has degrees in both psychology and business, and he brings a groundedness, a spiritual insight, strategy, and emotional intelligence to everything they do. They also host a meditation club, which is a strong community that's around the world. They meet 3 times a week in the morning for 30 minutes, and they really support people in this whole idea of intentional living, conscious leadership, and soul-aligned lifestyle. That is what we're all about at the Purpose Lab. It is my great pleasure to introduce Steve and Jennifer to you now.
So for us, I think it's really helping people to become just a better version of themselves and open to who they're really supposed to be in this world.
Yeah, it's baked in our name, interestingly. Pause, we like to slow people down, and then we like to have them expand on the other side. So I guess that's becoming a better version of themselves. And interestingly, we become better versions of ourselves in the process, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah. So we realized that both of us had a really strong background in corporate. And we got to this point where we realized there was a lot of divide happening in the corporate world. People weren't feeling like they could really show up as who they are. And a big part of the work that we've been doing is helping companies and teams connect more deeply with themselves. So really helping them to open to their potential, understand better connectivity between dynamics within organizations, and really helping to allow people to fully express themselves in a work setting.
So the way that Pause and Expand is involved into corporate work is to take short periods of time and have people expand as quickly as possible. When we started doing it, we didn't realize 3 years later where we'd be. We were always using sound therapy, we were using visualizations, meditation practices, But it's evolved into small communities that are growing inside of companies, and people who want a break, a shift from what they're doing, we come in and we can give them that shift in very quick periods of time.
So one of the things that we learned during the pandemic is that nobody is taking space in their workday to actually slow down. And when we don't take space in our workday to slow down, it causes us to have deeper levels of anxiety, more stress. We cannot open to our creative potential and our creative minds. And so what we realized is if we can come into companies for 30 minutes and be a point in their day where they have complete open space. We use sound and visualization, two modalities that actually slow your brainwaves down to the delta state and open to your subconscious mind. So you get to unlock a lot of the ideas, a lot of the stress and anxiety that's being held in your physical body. So we've been going into companies for these 30-minute mind sprints and going and allowing people to take a break, to shut down all of their email, to shut down all of their Slack, and to just come inwards and notice what can open when they allow themselves to take that pause. And what we're realizing is that the most incredible realizations are coming from these 30-minute containers where we go into companies and allow people to just take space. So we've been working with Adobe, we've been working with Cigna in the US, we've been working with massive tech companies, and what we're noticing is it's consistent across all the companies we work with. Every single human is the same. We all just need space to be able to open to our creativity and our potential.
It got started in the pandemic where we couldn't connect with people in the same way. And Jen and I were both interested in sound therapy, the use of sound bowls. I have a music background, and Jen has been in the meditative space for years. So we started to collaborate. We're a couple, so it adds an extra layer of joy and of pain, I will say, to navigate business and personal life. But it's where we get the greatest insights. We can be the most vulnerable, and we've always shown up on screen as being with the community that we're building or with the client. And I think that openness and showing them who we really are helps them realize we're all the same.
Yeah. There was also a moment where the world of spirituality, which is something that we're both very passionate about, and the corporate world needed to finally come together. So these two parts of ourselves that were completely separated, the pandemic was the moment that we bridged the two parts of ourselves into one duo.
Yeah.
And that duo is what's really allowed us to share both of our gifts. So I tend to be more of the welcoming, softer presence, and Steve tends to be more of the analytical science mind. And so when we can go in for 30 minutes, we can ask the tough questions. We can quiet people's minds. We can use sound and visualization to open ourselves to whatever ideas need to come through. That's where the magic is happening.
And it's quite fluid. I think we've grown as a couple in 3 years that when we get onto a call, we don't know who actually is going to do the sound bath or the visualization. So sometimes we'll sit there and look at each other and go, I think you should do it. And so it's a very improvisational collaborative process. I almost look at it as like a jazz duo. And we've just had to learn over time that whatever energy each one of us is in, let's take the best version or the best route to get to whoever we're working with. So I'm proud about that. I discovered my purpose really young. I
think one of the biggest parts about stepping into your purpose is that you have to face a lot of the challenges that are in your mind. And so a lot of the limiting beliefs that we have, many of which were brought from childhood. I had to start to uncover some of the truths about who I thought I was and who I actually am. And when you start to peel back the layers of the beliefs that you thought you held all this time, and you actually get to realize who you really are, it takes a lot of hard work, and it's a very emotional process. But the liberation and the freedom that comes on the other side of actually stepping into who you are and knowing that you're connecting with people in a way that feels real to you and then allows them to connect more deeply with themselves, that makes everything worth it. And so it was a big process of starting to take away some of the fear and just remember that I'm safe to be who I am in this world. I'm safe to share my light, and I can actually do that with my partner, who's here to support me and also share his gifts in a way that is completely complementary to mine.
I think for me, with purpose and being in a couple is if you're in the same place in the light at the same time. So if you go back to purpose being in your energy, sometimes one of us isn't in our purpose, and then there's friction or there can be challenges. So I find it easier when I'm in my purpose creating music by myself. Well, there's no one to answer to. I can go in and out of my purpose. I can do it at my own speed, my own time. If you put another person in the room with you, well, then there's another soul to take into account for. And I don't think we're past this. I think this is the journey of learning how to collaborate in purpose. I think that's what makes it so much more rewarding, is doing it with another person.
And it's an ever-evolving process.
We're always learning, yeah.
Where you're constantly being mirrored back to something you need to look at, and ultimately something that's going to help both of you shine even brighter.
And it wasn't easy in the beginning. It was not easy. There were many times along the way where we asked each other, like, why are we doing
wanted
this?
to give up.
Yeah. And I think that's part of our journey in this lifetime, is to figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's the unique proposition, that it's wonderful what we're doing as an action, but to do it together is magical. And that's real purpose, is the energy of two souls working together.
So one of the biggest challenges that I have faced in my life is having a really tough childhood. And when you are faced with things at a young age, in terms of, an alcoholic parent, or feeling like you aren't good enough to actually show up in the world the way you're meant to show up, feeling like you're not smart enough, those were stories that consistently lived inside my mind. And I also come from a family of high achievers. And so it was always, you can show your worth if you get to that VP title, if you climb the ladder to where you're supposed to ultimately be. And what was interesting for me is when I turned 35, I got to this point where I was in the corporate office. I had my own office. I had gotten the VP title, and I felt so empty inside. And what I realized in that moment was, being a VP in this company wasn't actually allowing me to do what I'm really meant to do in this world, which is to be myself. And I realized a lot of women, especially, need the encouragement to know that it's okay to have a voice. It's okay to share your truth. It's okay to feel like you're not good enough and do it anyways. And so that belief starts to get quieter when you start to step more into your purpose. Because when you actually feel brave enough to do the first step, to take the first step, to actually achieve something different, that is more in alignment with who you are, you start to recognize that people do accept you. And actually there's more people in this world that you'll connect with because you're being your true self, versus the person you thought you were supposed to be that isn't actually going to ultimately make you happy. So one of the things that's just recently been happening to me is I've realized that I need to actually share my voice more fully with the world. And I realized that the more truth I can share in my story, in the things that I've struggled with, the more people are actually out there that want to also recognize that's part of their story too, but we can actually overcome it together. And so just recently I started to share my voice more fully with people on social media. And Steve was a huge advocate for helping me be in my light, helping me share my gifts, helping me share this story that I have about overcoming this voice inside my head, which, by the way, never goes away. But ultimately, you start to work with and quiet the voice inside of you. And what I started to notice was people resonating. And so many women out there were saying to me, I feel you and I hear you because I have those same thoughts inside my head. And once we can realize that we're not the only person in the world that has these thoughts, once we realize we're not the only person in this world that has those doubts, that has those fears, we recognize that life is short, that we need to actually take risks. We need to put ourselves out there because this is the lifetime that we're meant to do it. This is the lifetime that we're meant to share our gifts with the world. And that's what I started to realize. And eventually when you start to realize that voice of your inner critic can be lower and the voice of your higher self, your true expression, can come forward, that's when the whole game starts to shift.
When I'm in my purpose, I'm in a frequency. I'm in a frequency of light. So when I'm in that frequency, I attract more people who are in their light. So that's really the effect of being in your purpose, is the strength of the connection you make and the kind of connection you make with other people. I notice that when I'm really in my purpose of, and apply it to anything. Let's say that we're leading a corporate group and we're working on a meditative practice. If I'm really in my light, my source, and listening to them and feeling into them, I affect them, they affect me. So it's a really strong level of connection. When I'm on my purpose and I wake up and I come to Jen with an idea, if she feels that light and it's coming from a very authentic, truthful place, not a place of ego, not a place of trying to make money, not a place of I want to be competitive, she will feel into that and she'll say, yeah, let's go do that. Or she'll say, are you really in your purpose? Is that really what we want to do? So that's actually another thing about being in collaboration. It allows us to check, is it really in our light, in our purpose, or has that voice come in that says we are doing something for something outside of our purpose or outside of our light? And I think the word light, being authentic, being ourselves, are all synonymous, right? So sometimes we use the word light and we're like, well, what light is he talking about? Well, the light I'm talking about is that person, that thing inside of you of who you really are, soul, and that light shines when you really uncover it. How do you uncover it? You were talking about the inner critic, right? Or the ego, the way the voices come in to say, what's driving me? And when you really drive yourself from your purest, authentic self, magical things happen, right? What prevents people from being in their purpose is being honest with what voice is driving the ship. There are many voices that run through my head, but the more work that I do on myself, they're starting to become one or the other. One that's driven by fear, or one that's driven by positivity or light. If I can turn down the volume on the one that's driven by fear, and turn up the volume on the one that's driven by positivity or light, I'm more in my purpose. And I think that's the journey of any soul. Can I be more in the light than in the dark? For me, it's been psychotherapy. It's been a myriad of a perfect prescription of different teachers, spiritual teachers, different psychotherapists, different types of plant-based medicine, but also at some point landing the information in the real physical world and using it. So it's been work. It's like being really honest with myself of what kind of life do I want to live, right? I want to live a life that actually is listening to this positive voice more than the fearful voice. And we all have it. That's what the human experience is about, is having these two voices and how we work with them.
There's a moment in your journey where you have to trust yourself and you have to lean in to the voices in your head and ask yourself, which of these voices is real? Is it the voice that's telling me that I'm not smart enough, that I'm not good enough? Or is it the voice that's telling me that I have something to share, that I have an important message, that I have the ability to connect people in ways that they can't even see yet? And that is the moment that you start to take the risk. That is the moment that you start to lean in to yourself and believe that you have the ability to create whatever it is that you want in this world, because each of us do. So the biggest piece of advice that I would have for someone who's still unclear about what their purpose or passion is take a small next step. So ask yourself, one of the biggest questions I ask myself every single day is, what do I need to do today to help me get closer to what it is that I want to achieve, even if I don't know what that is. And it might be something incredibly small. It might be a big leap. So it could be taking care of yourself. It could be going out in nature, getting an inspiration or getting an idea, a nugget of idea. It could be writing a poem or writing something that feels inspiring to you. It could be going and taking a course that's really going to ignite you in some new way. That small next step, interestingly, is the biggest action that you can take every day to get closer to your purpose. Because ultimately, if we knew, I think if a lot of us knew what we're actually here to do, it would make us so afraid and so scared to take the next step. So part of this process is just stepping into the unknown, being willing to take that next step and ask yourself, what do I need to do today to get me closer to the next thing that's going to help me feel more happiness, more fulfilled, more joy? And let yourself be guided by that one question every single day.
So when I'm trying to figure out how to find purpose, or when I wanted to find purpose in the past, I ask the question, why am I doing what I'm doing? The word why is an important word. So it even comes up when I think about what frequency am I in, or who am I associating with? Why am I in this room? Why are we doing this interview? Well, I'm doing this interview is because I'd like to help people find their purpose. That's the why. And if I keep that question front and center, it drives my decisions. It drives the directions I go. It drives who I'm with. It drives the kind of decisions or the way I can be better at emoting to you, right? So the why for me is a really powerful but simple question to keep present, front of mind. In order to get to know yourself, there was a journey for me. And the journey happens perfectly for every soul. And so you will be given messages and you will be told things. And if you listen, the right books, the right teachers, the right schooling, the right psychotherapy, the right music, the right partners will show up at the right times. Sometimes it feels like the wrong thing, and it's because you're supposed to learn something. So for me, I had to go through a bottom. I hit a bottom in my life. And coming out of that bottom, I was like, I don't want to ever be like this again. And the right therapy showed up at that time. It was somatic therapy. It doesn't mean that the first thing that you should all do is go to somatic therapy. That was my first teacher. And she turned me on to plant-based medicine. And we experimented with that. And this is going back 7 years ago. So in my journey, I could tell you when A, B, C, D, E, F, G, your A, B, C, D, F, G will be unique. But if you're listening to the sign of what to do next and go, ask Spirit, what do I need to know next? It will show up. Favorite book though? Michael Singer, Untethered Soul. I mean, for me, he kind of encapsulates the entire journey and the ride and the questions to ask in one book. But I would put it, the journey is very unique. Just ask and listen.
So 2 things for me have been really helpful in helping me to uncover my purpose and understand what was holding me back. The first one is somatic therapy. So I've done a lot of group somatic therapy. That is really somatic therapy is the ability for you to get out of your head and into your physical body, to start to understand what are the emotions and feelings that are stuck inside of you that are holding you back from actually taking steps forward. It's amazing to go and do talk therapy, but when you get to go into your body and understand what is stuck and stored in there that you may not even be aware of, you start to unlock the potential of yourself that is not coming from your thinking mind. It's coming from your physical body. Everything starts with your body.
And this is where the body keeps score.
Yeah.
Your body retains information subconsciously that you don't even know. So you can know a concept, but your body's feeling something different. And until you address the feelings, that's why somatic therapy has been so powerful. We address the feelings going on in our body, because we could talk it and tell you all the right answers. Doesn't mean we're going to act it out. So that's why.
Yeah. The other big aspect that can really help you to uncover your purpose is to get a deeper connection to source. So whatever it is for you, God, your higher self, your guides, your angels, whatever it is that you use, how can you tap into that way? A lot of people use it through plant medicine. A lot of people go to very spiritual schools like Delphi University, which is something that was pinnacle for us both in opening to the greater universe, the greater experience that we're all part of. So if more people were living in their purpose, it's hard to even put into words what that actually feels like. It makes me want to cry because what I feel is so much love in my heart. It's like we could actually meet each other where we are and have the ability to see each other, to really see each other, and to feel a deeper sense of belonging because we belong to ourselves and we know that we have a purpose here. And suddenly now we can see the interconnectedness of all of us and what each of our unique gifts are. Because every single person on this planet has a unique gift that they are only able to give to this world. And so imagine what this world could be like if we all allowed ourselves to shine that light. It would be this incredible, beautiful garden of just connectivity and color and love and brightness.
Yeah, that's what I think about. Imagine the entire world being like an imaginative, colorful forest. It would just be beyond words.
Beyond words.
Beyond words. The message I'm getting is around the pressure we put on ourselves to find purpose. Purpose is sitting at the edge of your fingertips. Literally. It is always with you. There is nothing you have to go outside of yourself to find purpose. Remember, it's an energy. It's not complicated, but we complicate the action. Remove the action from the energy. When you're in purpose, you're in alignment with source, or you can call it God, or you can call it energy, white light above you, higher self, all similar words. Artists do this every time they channel a new song. It's why the most incredible artists don't seem like they're from this planet, but they're from this planet. They're just in source. So just remember, you are one moment away from always being in purpose. You can build that into beautiful, bigger and bigger actions. Or you can stare out the window and look at a cardinal that's flying by and saying, we are both in our purpose. That's all. That message is so important to me. That purpose is never far away from you. If I knew what life could be like 3 years ago, what it is today, and just to summarize it, we have a loving relationship. We're in the business together that we've always wanted to be. We can see the future ahead, and we are going to stay in this business of helping people, which help ourselves. I wouldn't have done it any quicker because it had to happen at this rate. I can't circumvent the universe. The universe has the plan.
Yeah.
The more that I open up to it, it seems like it's happening quicker, but it knows how quick it's supposed to go. So everything's happening at the right speed.
Yeah. Every single action that you take, big or small, in every single day is guiding you closer to your purpose. The biggest question to ask yourself is, am I doing this from a place of love, or am I doing this from a place of fear?
Yeah.
Because when you do things from a place of love, you are in your purpose every single day. It could be something as simple as having a coffee with someone, or sending an email to someone who you realize intuitively you need to reach out to. That's what being your purpose is. It's not this big grand thing that we're all trying to figure out. It's a day-by-day process that is unfolding. Every moment you wake up and choose to be in the energy of love.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
If this episode sparked something inside of you, consider joining a Holo Movement Purpose Lab team starting this September. The world needs you to bring something that only you can, and you weren't meant to figure this out alone. Join us.